Hello my loves and welcome to my channel. My name is Lily and today I will be showing you my April 2022 bullet journal setup. This month's theme is the Disney movie Lilo and Stitch, because when I was younger it was my favorite movie, especially because it was about two sisters and my sister and I were pretty much like Nani and Lilo when we were younger. Particularly when it comes to the fighting. And so for the cover page I used the famous line, Ohana means family. Family means no one gets left behind or forgotten. And for a fun side note, my mother and I and my sister and my brother all have Ohana tattoos. For the drawings on the quote page, I put a little drawing of Stitch and another drawing of an hibiscus flower. For the lettering on this spread, I'm using this kind of a cursive lettering thing, where on the quote page I'm just using a fine liner, and then on the other page I'm using a fine liner again, but I will go in later to fill in the letters so they will be a bit thicker. The pen that I'm using is a Unipin fine liner in the size 0.5, and I'm using it for all my drawings and all my letterings and everything I put in the setup. On the cover page I made a small drawing of Lilo and another small drawing of her cute little doll. When I started to color everything in, I used Faber-Castell markers, but unfortunately when I flipped to the other page I saw that there was a lot of bleeding, and then when I mean a lot, I mean a lot. You can see it right here. I had to put another page to the calendar, half of the calendar again, because the bleeding was just too much. I couldn't use it. And so after that disaster, I decided to switch to paint. For the calendar spread, I decided to do these two really big leaves, two different types of leaves, and then a drawing of Stitch. And I just love this scene in the movie where it's one of the last scenes in the movie where he's doing the laundry and he decides to become a superhero. For the calendar itself, we have a box for each day, a separate box for each day, and each box is 6 dots across and 7 dots down. Some people that are bullet journaling do tend to put a list of things to remember throughout the month on the calendar spread, or some other separate box for other things to remember throughout the month, or whatever you like, or things to remember for next month or something. But I decided to keep it fairly simple this month, just for the calendar, just a box for each day. And then I will have use the future log for future references instead of a list. And now, as you can see, I'm switching over to paint, which is a lot better choice, especially for this kind of paper that's in this kind of a book. This book is from a store called Flying Tiger, Copenhagen, and the paper is well, it's thin, it's a bit translucent, so it's not exactly the ideal paper for bullet journaling, especially if you're doing a lot of drawings and coloring in and stuff like that. The paint that I'm using for this spread is acrylic paint from Panduro, and the colors are cobalt blue, ultramarine, emerald green, sap green, crimson and titanium white. And the pencils that I'm using are from Panduro as well. They are called Panduro Hobby in the sizes 1, 2 and 3, if I'm correct. I really do recommend the paint and the pencils from Panduro, especially because for this book with this kind of fairly translucent paper, you can barely see the paint when you flip on the other side, and the pencils are really fine. This month's habit tracker is really simple. We start by making a box, 21 dots down and 23 dots across, and then inside the box we have 2 spaces for each habit, and within those 2 spaces 30 boxes for each day of the month. And for the mood tracker, there's just a flower for each day. And you can choose whichever color you want for each mood you want, and then just make a pretty little flower page. The picture I drew on the habit tracker page is a picture you can see on the fridge at Nani and Lilo's home that Lilo drew. It's in the scene where the guy from social services comes over and he asks if Lilo is left home alone a lot, And Nani's like, no, never. And then she sees a picture on the fridge where it says me alone and Lilo crying in the corner. It's just pure gold. The last spread is a weekly spread, which is really simple, really minimalistic. It's just columns and events on the bottom, a separate space for events on the bottom. Each column is 10 dots across and 33 dots down. And the space for events is 10 dots across and 7 dots down. And that's the end of it. And now for the final flip through. On this spread I used the Faber-Castell markers, and for every other painting I did I used paint. The Pandoro paint. I really hope you like this video and would consider giving it a like and maybe subscribe to my channel. It would help a lot, as you probably know. Thank you. Bye.